When I used to come to people, I used to act so hard, I used to try so hard, and they would eventually leave me because they could see that I was trying so hard, that I was trying to be someone I'm not. And all the time I used to think that I have no one where I have nobody I could be myself in front of. Okay, so I'll start the video by telling my own story because it just makes the video more relatable. Okay, so starting from my school days, I was very overweight, which did not help at all. And I had zero social skills because I used to get bullied, so I had nobody to talk to. And I used to be like kind of fearful of people and very mistrusting. I did not allow myself to be vulnerable in front of people because, of course, for a valid reason, I used to get bullied a lot. And being like 25 kilos overweight at such a young age, it has an impact on you. Family life wasn't going good either, so one case or the other, I did not feel good about myself. I did not feel good about life, about people, and basically I had a zero emotional regulation, so I just shut down. Of course, when you are trying to survive and being that passive in yourself, it's hard. You're not able to be yourself even with yourself. It's harder to be yourself in front of people, right? So, but there's always an urge to socialize, to make friends, which I had to because zero friends. When I used to like try to make friends, I used to try too hard to be friends with people, but the harder you try, sometimes the more they kind of like push away. I was getting lonelier. I used to, spend my time watching animes and stuff, which helped me improve my English, if you have seen my English video. So yes, I was struggling to make friends in school. But later down, when I started going to school more, I changed my schools because my previous school was really toxic. So I changed my schools, and then I relocated, and then I started going to a new school. I was still overweight. I was still, had all the things that I had before. But gradually, I started to accept my reality that yes, I'm overweight. I was very unconfident, very, very unconfident about my weight. Because in Asian countries, they really tend to bully you a lot if you're overweight. So anyway, the thing that helped me in making friends and being more myself was that I started accepting myself. I started being more gradually over time, being more unapologetic with my family situation, with my roots, with my culture, with my skin color, with the way I looked, with the way I dressed, with the way I talked. I started to realize that if I'm not being myself, it wasn't because of the motivation to make friends or anything or to socialize better. It was just because I started to say that it wasn't feasible for me to be living life with such strong self-criticism, because people are criticizing. They will criticize. You cannot shut their mouths, okay? But when you start criticizing yourself, there is really nowhere else for you to go. So when I started to be myself with myself, you could say, I don't know how I should put it, but when I started to be accepting of myself and how I look, how I talk, how I walk, how I laugh, then I started to be more at ease with myself. It doesn't matter if you come from a poor background or a rich background. It doesn't matter if you are tan, if you are fair, if you're overweight, if you're not overweight, if you have a lot of energy, or if you talk very calmly, or you don't talk at all. When I started accepting the various forms of how I am and my life currently, my background, my culture, and just how I am, with all the experiences and all the goods and bads that made me to how I am right now. You need a very strong compassion for yourself and for other people, because I started being more compassionate towards other people that are very different from me. Not good, not bad, but very different. So when I started seeing people as how they are and not how I want them to be, naturally that I started giving that energy to myself as well. Because I don't like people to be someone they're not when they're in front of me. I want them to be at home. I want them to feel at peace when they're with me. Similarly, I started giving that energy to myself that I want to be myself in every situation. And when I have that energy, naturally people will be in their own like energy. They wouldn't have to work so hard to please you because you aren't working so hard to please them. And the worst of all is desperate energy. So it was less about I want to impress people or I want to make friends or I want to socialize. It was mainly due to life doesn't, it's a very difficult life to live if you cannot accept yourself, okay? And when you think about like how people are thinking about you when you're talking to them, they will think, okay, she's so over, okay, she's so hyper energetic, maybe she's trying to impress me, maybe she's trying to flirt with me, or maybe she's trying to be my friend, or she has a lot of attitude, whatever the case may be. All of these things, even though I'm such an overthinker, but now I don't get these thoughts in my head at all when I'm talking to people, because I realize that when I'm talking to someone, I'm genuinely interested in who that person is, or who she is, what is she made up of basically, and what is her likes, what is her dislikes, how she talks, how she walks, and I'm just interested in that person, okay? And it's less about that person trying to impress me or me trying to impress that person. So it's a very different energy when you're interacting with someone, and that really shines when you are talking to someone, and people can see that. Similarly, you can see them as well when they kind of relax in front of you. It's very flattering to see somebody being themselves around you, and it's mainly due to you gave them that environment to be themselves. And it's also because you just detach yourself from all that impressing game, you trying to impress someone and somebody trying to impress you. When you detach yourself from all of this game and you just become completely yourself, you don't care if that person likes you or not, you don't care if they have a different opinion than yours, and similarly you don't care if that person has a different opinion, okay? You are accepting that, okay, I have a different opinion and he has that different opinion, and you don't get offended by it. It's really okay, because you want to know that person as a whole and not somebody as an image you have in your mind, okay? You just want to see that person in who they are and how they are, rather than you trying to fit somebody into your delusions. When I stopped doing that, I was like, that person is a different being from me and I want to get to know that person better. So you have a very different energy in you, very different approach about you, and people can sense that, okay? People can sense that that person is genuinely trying to have a connection with me, rather than me trying to just pass my time with someone, or using up someone's time for my own benefit. So when you have that energy about you, it doesn't matter how you look, it doesn't matter how much weight you have, it doesn't matter what is your background. It's a very different, very holistic, very comforting environment. And I have seen people that are very harsh and they have a very frank approach to people. Sometimes they also tend to soften up a bit because they realize that I'm not their enemy. I don't have anything against them. I don't want to hurt them in any way. And similarly, they also understand that why should I hurt that person when they don't want to hurt me. So naturally they put down their guards. It's way past that superficial interactions, social interaction. It's more deeper. And you come to this stage when you have done a lot of work behind the scenes, and the biggest of them is self-acceptance. It's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to show your emotions. It's okay to be emotionally vulnerable with someone. But it's not okay to burden other people because of the things that are going on in your life, and expecting people to accept you and understand you and be there for you. I don't expect people to be there for me, but when somebody is there, I enjoy their company. But when we start expecting things from people, I gave her X amount of time and I want that person to be there for me as well. So it's a very transactional interaction, and nothing about that interaction is holistic. So I try to avoid those things because I know my life is not dependent on other people. You don't have to be with me if you don't want to be with me, is now my approach in dealing with people. There was a point in my life where I said, I don't need anyone. I hate everyone and I don't trust anyone, and that people are all XYZ, whatever. When I was at that phase in my life, it was a very lonely period because you cannot live without people. You cannot live without, social interaction. You need that. And not in the way that you expect things from people, but you genuinely want to connect with someone. But I was so disconnected with myself that connecting with someone else was far off. I could not. So when I started to accept myself, when I started to accept, it sounds so basic, but it's the start of everything. When I unapologetically accepted my situation, accepted my background, accepted my roots, and accepted my culture, accepted the way I look, the way I talk, the way I smile, my imperfections, my ugliness, my prettiness, and everything basically that makes up me. Everything, my intelligence, my dumbness, my emotional vulnerability, my anxiety. Yes, I'm an anxious person and I'm not apologetic for it. I'm trying to be better, but because I'm trying to be better because I want to live a better quality of life, not because I shouldn't be anxious. No, it's okay to be anxious, okay? But it's giving me some problems in my life and I would like to better it. That thing. Having a more nurturing approach with yourself. So when you have a nurturing approach with yourself, other people also put down their guard because they know that you're not there to judge them, you're not there to harm them, you're not there to sneer at them or make fun of them or laugh at their vulnerabilities, because you also have your vulnerabilities and you're not afraid to show them that. Even at my workplace, if something like is, I don't like something, I tend to say it now. I don't care. You can say it in a more nurturing, comforting, and in a more in a way that they understand that there is a problem, a solution-oriented complaining rather than a problem-oriented complaining. You could say, you can say that this is what's bothering me and how can we solve it, rather than me versus you. It's rather the problem versus us kind of approach. When you start being so unapologetic in who you are, people tend to be more unapologetic with themselves when they're around you. They let their guard down. They are more available to emotionally connect with you. And when you see that energy, it just kind of snowballs. So you are more yourself because they are themselves. So there is no desperate energy, there's nothing transactional about this whole social interaction. It's really enjoying each other's company. And it all starts when you start accepting yourself and who you are, what made you into who you are today, basically everything. That, and also not seeing people as beings that are there to entertain you or to make you pass your time or there to make your life better, but instead seeing them as beings that are just like you and being more interested in them as a person and wanting to get to know them better on a much more deeper level than to expect things from them, than to get things out of them, and to see people that I will do this for her if she does this for me. It's a very draining mindset to have. You don't need to detach yourself from people. Okay, that's not how things work. But you need to detach yourself from someone's need. You don't need anyone. But it's really, really comforting and nice to socialize with people, to talk to people, to understand their problems, their concerns, what drives them, and their passions. And similarly, you telling your passions to them. And both of you letting their guard down and talking to each other in a more holistic way. And that all starts when you have compassion for yourself and for other people. Firstly, for yourself, because if I did not have compassion I used to have compassion for other people, but I had zero compassion for myself. I used to be like so judgmental of myself, and everything that had to do with me, everything basically, I hated everything, to accepting and loving and everything about myself and my background, my culture, my everything basically. It's not you have to be harsh or you have to be rude. I'm making a separate video for that. You don't need to be like frank. You don't need to be harsh. You don't need to be like dismissive of other people's concerns or needs or their preferences just because you want to be yourself. That's not how things work, But making a more holistic environment where you can be yourself, other people can be them, but no one's overriding each other's needs. Everyone has their own needs, and they know their boundaries as well. Ever since I was young, this was one thing that I really wanted, because I had nobody that I could be myself in front of, you could say. When I used to come to people, I used to act so hard, I used to try so hard, and they would eventually leave me because they could see that I was trying so hard, that I was trying to be someone I'm not. And all the time I used to think that I have no one I have nobody I could be myself in front of. That was the only complaint I had. But now I don't have that complaint anymore, because I realized that it starts from me. This whole thing starts from me. If I can be myself, if I allow myself to be myself in front of other people and when I'm alone, naturally other people can be themselves. So I don't need anyone else's permission to be myself in front of people. I can be myself, and the people that can find comfort in me, they can be there. And if they don't like my company, they can leave. Either way, I'm still here. I'm going nowhere. Okay, so if people want to come, they can come. If they want to go, they can go. And I'm not saying out of bitterness that you can leave. No, genuinely, if you don't enjoy my company, I don't want to be a noose around your neck. You can leave, and in a very sincere way, you can leave. But if they enjoy my company, I'm more than happy to be there for them and just being myself, let's say. So we don't have to put a death grip on people that I want this person to be with me. So I would say the takeaway of this video is the only way you can be yourself in front of people is you need to start seeing where you don't like yourself, where you're not very accepting of yourself, and you need to start taking care of those things. You need to start becoming more accepting of your flaws and of your background. If you come from a poor family, if you come from a rich family, makes no difference. When you genuinely want connection with someone, these things does not matter. And if they do, then that means you're at a very wrong place. You don't belong there. And those people don't belong in your life too. Don't put a chokehold on anyone. Let the water flow. People who are there for you will be there for you. The important thing is that you need to be there for yourself, even if nobody is there. Desperate energy gets you nowhere. Okay. And there is a desperate energy because you are trying to cover something you lack, which is self-compassion for yourself. The moment you start accepting yourself, people start accepting you. It's not that you are something other people are not. You are just like everyone else. You're just like me. You're just like, your next door neighbor. You're just like the boss in your office, or the principal at your school, or the popular kid in your school, or whatever. You're just like everyone else. Not good than them, not bad than them. Just like them. And if you have if you have these thoughts that I'm not worthy enough, people might be judging me, they would be judging my teeth when I smile, they were judging me, on my side profile, because I used to have these thoughts all the time. So it's very relatable, but they don't care. I don't care. If people are there in front of me, I don't care. The only thing I'm interested is getting to know them better as human. So I hope this video is helpful for you, and if it was, make sure to like and subscribe. Bye bye.